Today, the monks in Dangkar Temple are all happy to take people to that important room, where the Dalai Lama first met central government's representative.
没讲更多的话，就是我现在已经决定，回拉萨了。张那边想走啊，还是我想走？这样的是跟张那边说呢，说你先走吧，你也人多，你先走，我们随后就来。这样呢，就是这个到拉萨去了。
In August, the Dalai Lama returned to Lhasa. Lhasa went back to normal. However, the 17 agreements were under heated debate among the officials. Most of them and the Dalai Lama thought that the 17 agreements guaranteed their status and were hence acceptable. On October 29th, the Dalai Lama sent an official telegram to Chairman Mao Zedong expressing his endorsement of the agreements. The arrival of the People's Liberation Army broke the clouds that had hung over Tibetan society. The Panchen Lama, who had stayed for many years in inland China, returned to Tibet and reconciled with the Dalai Lama. People were happy to see the 5-starred red flag flutter over the skies of this snowy plateau. According to the agreements for peaceful liberation of Tibet, nothing was changed of the feudal slave system practiced in Tibet. It's a theocratic medieval social system. The production tools and the production styles were extremely backward, and the labor and production efficiency extremely low. In the Lhasa River Valley, with its mediocre natural conditions, the harvest of barley was only 8 to 10 times the amount of the seeds planted. Under such circumstances, the ranch economy, which highly concentrated both land and labor, made it easy for the ruling class to grow wealthy. That's why wherever the Kashag government's power could reach, nearly all the land belonged to the ranches, and the ranches belonged to the temples, the nobles, or the Kashag government. They're termed the 3 major masters in Tibetan tradition. Most of the common people were forced into the ranch system as serfs and performed collective labor. The serfs had no rights. They were not allowed to leave the ranch. Everything had to be granted by the masters, including marriage. If 2 serfs of different masters married, their sons would belong to the father's master and their daughters to the mother's. The serfs also had to pay the masters and all passing officials corvée service and provide everything they demanded. Because of the low productivity, the 3 major masters had to increase taxes to satisfy their extravagant appetites. The serfs had to give away most of what they grew to their masters, leaving little for themselves and their families. In the theocratic era, the application of law by the Tibetan Kashag government was largely random. Mixed common laws were often used, which included Buddhist canons, ancient laws, and rules written by the 3 major masters. In the various laws as the legal basis of Old Tibet, human beings were divided into 3 classes and 9 castes. In the chapter of Cost of Human Lives, The lives of the highest caste were invaluable, while the price of the lives of women and butchers in the lowest caste was a straw rope. Private torture was common. Beneath the Potala Palace is the prison for the old Tibetan government. The most horrifying was the Nansha prison in Lhasa City. The scenes here are reminiscent of the religious courts of Europe or places like the London Tower or the Bastille. This is a wooden log for 4 prisoners' feet. They could only lie on the wet ground. The documents and files kept in the Tibetan archives can help us understand that society. Punishments in Old Tibet were cruel. The officials often used means such as amputation, cutting wrists and ankle tendons, gouging eyes, and cutting out tongues. The Tibetan prisons did not provide food. The prisoners walked along the streets in chains and begged. This was witnessed by visitors from around the world. Naturally, the central government officials who witnessed this wished to change the cruel system. However, according to the 17 agreements, they could only wait for the autonomous reform of the local Tibetan government led by the Dalai Lama. Nonetheless, the peaceful liberation brought new life to Tibet in the 50s. Some of the young men and women in the upper class formed patriotic youth unions and patriotic women's federations to study and publicize the 17 agreements. New power stations were built and the first elementary school was founded in Lhasa. The country opened new stores and the prices for Tibetan necessities such as salt, tea, cotton, and silk were lowered across the board. To relieve the Tibetan people of their burden and also to improve production techniques in Tibet, the PLA developed wasteland into model farms. These farms absorbed the poor tramps and paupers and taught them new labor techniques. In the early 50s, change came to Tibet, which brought hope and joy. The climax of this joy was when the Dalai Lama and Panchen Lama went to Beijing for the First People's Congress in 1959. Numerous craftsmen rushed for the exquisite gifts. Thousands of people went to the Lhasa River bank to see the Dalai Lama off to Beijing. For the first time, the Dalai Lama went on a bus journey on a Tibetan road.